Hi, I am Hendy Missial. I'm going to show you how to create widget dynamically and automatically in Python. To do so, we are going to build a GUI Calculator application. Let's take a look to our calculator to see its capabilities and features. The first feature I want to show you is the thousand formatting number. Thousand formatting number is very important. It makes a number easier to read and make our application more user-friendly. For example, as we key, comma appears as thousand separator. And also, if we delete the last digit, the thousand formatting still applies. Another great feature is our display expression. As we build our expression, it shows up to our screen. For example, this number plus 48, 171. The next feature I want to show you is the clear button. It holds two functionalities, the clear button and the backspace button. And the right one is displayed accordingly to the context. For example, the backspace is displayed when the user is keying number. When the user is keying number, the backspace is displayed and change to the clear button in all other circumstances. This calculator is capable of computing decimal number too. Let's try to compute two decimal number. Let's stay on the dot button. Even though we keep pressing the dot button, it keeps only one dot. Let's say 2.6 plus 4.3 equals 6.9. Let us divide 8 by 0. Cannot divide by 0. Awesome. Let's divide 8 by 2. 4. Great. Let us explore some of our advanced functions. The square root of 81 is 9. We can keep computing the square root. The square root of 9 is 3. Great. Now let's try the square function. Let's say 8 square is 64. You can keep square, keep going, and let's try the factorial function. Factorial 4 is 24. Let's try 0. Factorial 0 is 1. Let's try something that doesn't make sense, like factorial -5. Invalid input. We also have a constant pi, which is 3.1415. We can compute with other numbers. 9. That's awesome. I'm going to break down those code on a series of sample video that will help anyone build step by step this calculator application. To keep it simple and easy, we will start with a standard calculator. In this series, we will focus on creating the user interface and adding some basic functionalities. Let's go now to the Python interpreter to start coding. Let's create a new file to start coding our calculator application. Let's save it under the name of calculator. I save it in the folder I call calculator dynam. First, we import the Tkinter module. Tkinter module as tk. Tkinter is the built-in module in Python to create GUI. Let's create an instance of Tkinter. We call it root. We call tk.tk, and now let's give a title to our root.title. We call it my calculator. My calculator. And let's call the main loop root.main loop to keep our window running. That's the framework for any Tkinter application. If we run it, let's fix the root. In tk, we don't need capital K, we need lowercase k. There we go. Let's run it. This is our window. In this window, we're gonna create all our widgets. Let's start creating a widget. This is where all our widgets gonna be, between the root and the main loop. Let's create our display widget. It's gonna be a label, display, label, tk that label, the root, and we're gonna need a width of 20. And the geometry management we're gonna use is the GUI. Display label grid, gonna position in the row 0, and colon 4, and we're gonna span it, colon span, on all 4 columns. Let's try it. this is what it looks like. Now we're gonna have to create our button widget. Let's do it. We are going to use a nested list to display our button in the form of rows and columns. Every row in our calculator is a list that holds the text property of our button. Let's name our list button row. Button rows. Okay, that's our list, and inside that list we're gonna have a list that hold the property of each button. Now, the first row, we're gonna have 5 rows in our list. So that's the first one, comma, that's the second one, the third one, the fourth one, there is a comma, and that the last one. Okay, and inside all that list, that's our nested list. Inside that list, we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have 4 columns. Let's copy that because we have 4 columns in every row. Let's copy that and we're gonna paste it here, 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 and here. The first row, we have 7, 8, 9, and the clear button. In the second row, we have 4, 5, 6, and the backspace button. In the third row, we have 1, 2, 3, and the multiplication operator. And in the fourth row, we have 0, dot, minus a subtraction operator and the addition operator. And in the last row, we have the equal sign and the division sign. That's our list that's the list that hold all the properties we're gonna use on our button. We are going to use a nested for loop to create our button widget automatically and dynamically, and also to display them in row and column. We are using also enumerate function to keep track of every element and its index while traversing the list. The first for loop, we're gonna use those two variables as loop variables. First one is row index, that's gonna keep track of the index, and the second one, row in enumerate, and we pass the list, which is button row. Let's enumerate. Let's fix that. Enumerate. That's our first list, our first loop. And then the second one, gonna use those as loop variables, cell index and cell. In enumerate, and we pass row, which is each list inside that list. That's our second for loop. And inside those loops, we're gonna create our button widget. Okay, that button with a root, and we're gonna use the text properties. So remember, we store our text properties in those lists. That's why we use the cell as property, text property in our button widget. This is cell that keep track of every element in those rows. And then we're gonna give them a width h of 5. And also we're gonna use the real geometry management, that grid. Now we're gonna have to position each button in the right position. We're gonna use row equal row index plus 2 to put it in the second row, and as a column you're gonna use cell index. Okay, now let's give it a try to see how it looks. We need a comma here, and also let's add some 3D dimension on our display label. Let's say relief equals second, and also the color, let's put it to 0 because it spans to 4 columns. Let's give it a try. Everything's good. Yeah, let's try. Here we go. That's our calculator interface. Is that awesome? In a few lines, we already have our calculator interface. That's it for this video. I hope you have found value in it. In the next video, we will start adding some basic functionalities. Thank you for watching. Please leave your comment and subscribe.